Some say the hum never stopped. It just needed someone new to hear it. This is the true terrifying story of a night guard who discovered the plant wasn't as dead as it seemed. It was late November, about 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, when I got the call to take a temporary security job at an old power plant on the outskirts of Detroit, Michigan. The place was called Ridgeway Energy Station, and it had been shut down since 1998 after a partial collapse in one of the turbine halls. I didn't know much about it, except that most of the facility had been gutted and stripped for parts, and that it was considered one of the most haunted sites in the county. Now I've done dozens of overnight security shifts at abandoned factories, warehouses, even an old psychiatric hospital once. I don't scare easy, but something about Ridgeway felt wrong the moment I drove past the rusted gates. Part 1, the first night. The parking lot was half sunk into cracked concrete, weeds poking through every line. The main building towered in front of me, 4 stories of broken windows, graffiti and shadows that seemed to move even without wind. My supervisor, a quiet guy named Darren, met me inside. He looked exhausted, eyes darting toward the dark hallway every few seconds. "You'll be stationed in the control wing," he said. "Just make your rounds every hour, check the monitors, and radio in if you hear anything strange." I chuckled. Define strange. He didn't laugh. "You'll know." That was the last time I saw him. In Part 2, the hum. By 2 a.m., the entire plant was dead. Silent, except for the occasional creak of old metal settling in the cold. I sat in the control room, sipping coffee, when I heard it. A low, steady hum. It came from deep inside the turbine hall, like machinery spinning up. Slow and rhythmic, vibrating through the floor. I froze. There hadn't been power to this place in over 20 years. I grabbed my flashlight and headed toward the hall. The closer I got, the stronger the vibration became, like the building itself was waking up. And then I saw it, through the cracked glass window that overlooked the main turbine floor. One of the massive generators was moving, slowly, grinding, turning on its own. There was no power source, no fuel, nothing. I whispered to myself, "What the hell?" and lifted my radio. Control to Darren. "You copy?" Static. Then, a voice I didn't recognize came through the channel. "You're not supposed to be here, Tom." My heart nearly stopped. Nobody knew my name. I hadn't even signed the logbook yet. Part 3, the shadow in the glass. I backed away from the railing, flashlight shaking. The turbine screeched, then stopped abruptly. The entire plant fell into dead silence again. And that's when I noticed movement on the far side of the hall. Someone was walking through the control deck. Slow, deliberate steps. The figure was tall, wearing a reflective vest just like mine. I turned my flashlight toward him and froze completely. It was Rick. Rick was a coworker from my old security company. He'd died in a boiler explosion at this exact plant back in '98. I remembered reading about it years ago. His face was half burned but unmistakable, and he was staring right at me. Part 4, the shift that never ended. I bolted back toward the security office, heart pounding. I slammed the door shut and grabbed my phone. No signal. Then the lights flickered. One by one, the control panels in front of me lit up, glowing faint green. The monitors, which had been dead all night, suddenly came alive, showing grainy black and white footage of the entire facility. Every camera showed movement, figures pacing the halls, workers in helmets, climbing ladders, men hauling equipment. All of them faded in and out like ghosts replaying their last day. And in the bottom corner of one monitor was me, sitting in that very room. But behind me, in the reflection of the glass, Rick was standing again. He whispered something. I could barely hear it over the hum. "Finish the shift." Then the power cut out completely. Part 5, the truth behind Ridgeway. When morning came, I was still in that chair, half asleep and shaking. The hum was gone. The lights were off again and all the monitors were blank. A new guard walked in, surprised to see me there. "Hey man, you're not supposed to be on duty till tonight," he said. I blinked. "What do you mean?" "I started last night." He looked at the clipboard. "Your name's not on the roster." That didn't make sense. I checked my phone. The date was 2 days later. I'd been inside that plant for over 36 hours. Part 6, the final visit. A week later, I went back to return my badge and keys. Darren wasn't there. In fact, nobody by that name worked for the company. When I told the site manager what happened, his face went pale. "Son." Ridgeway shut down in '98 after an explosion in the turbine wing. Killed 3 men. One of them was named Rick Halpern. He paused. "And the other?" "The security guard on duty that night was named Darren." I didn't say another word. That night I drove past the plant one last time. The gates were chained shut, the whole place dark. But as I passed, I heard it again, faint, low, and distant. That same mechanical hum coming from deep within the walls. Some machines never stop running, even after everyone else is gone. What would you have done if you heard that turbine come alive again? Tell me in the comments. I read every single one. And if you love true horror stories like this, hit like, drop a comment, and make sure you subscribe so you never miss what's coming next. You're listening to Flicker of Fear Tales, where every story leaves a scar.